In this video, I'm going to show you how to do a 5x7 landscape vignette with a color background. So in the first video, we did a circle vignette because the circle matched the flower that was on here. Most of the time, you're going to have a subject that is either going to be landscape or portrait. So this is a landscape option, and this would be a portrait option. So I'm going to deselect here to start. I'm going to, if you're still in rectangular, I'm going to right click and go to the elliptical marquee and change this from normal to a fixed ratio, and I'll put in 7 for my width and 5 for my height. Then I'm going to hold down my left mouse button and click and drag to get the vignette size I want around this little dog here, and then I'm going to use my keyboard arrows to shift that left, right, up or down to get that centered on the dog there. So that looks pretty good. Just like in the last one, we're then going to go into select and mask, and if you need to, you can change your transparency from 20% up to 100 so you can see exactly what you're going to get around the edge. And I'm going to feather, so I'm going to add that feather pixel in there. I can shift the edge if I want. Now you have to be careful in this one. If I shift too far, the feather pixels are going to run off the bottom of the image there, and that's not going to work for you. But right there, that little bit of feathering, that looks pretty nice. Last time we opened up the output settings, and you could leave it default section or selection, which means you're going to have to make a new layer from it. I'm going to choose the new document option for this, and I'm just going to hit OK. So here's my new document, Untitled 3. I'm going to crop this to start, so I'm going to hold the control button down and go over here to my layers panel and click on my layer thumbnail, the little picture. That highlights all the pixels on my image here, and then I will go to image crop again like we did before. Now in this image, we're going to add a background color. So I'm going to go ahead and deselect what I have there. We're not painting just this background. If you do that, I'll show you that option. So if you use your paint bucket and you paint here, you're going to end up with an area that doesn't get painted. That's inside of the vignette feathered selection. So we're going to undo that last step. And we're going to create a new layer. So down here in the bottom, just next to the trash can, there's new layer. And I'm going to turn off the dog, and then I'm going to simply paint that new layer black. You could choose a different color, so if you wanted to pick red, you can go out there and you could paint that red. Whatever color works for you, I'm going to choose to do black. That typically looks good with most images. Now when I turn this dog layer back on, notice that it is below the black layer, so I'm going to have to drag that up on top so that it shows. Now the very edge of the vignette goes all the way to the edge of my document. If I was going to frame this, I'd be cutting that off with the mat or the frame that goes around that. So we are going to shrink up the selection with the dog on it. So I have layer 1 selected over here. That's my active layer. Notice it's light gray. And I'm going to go to transform this. So on your keyboard, that's Control T for free transformation. And I'm going to go up here where it says height and width. They're currently 100%. I'm going to link those so that they don't get distorted. And I'm just going to type in 90%. So 90% height, 90% width gives me a nice black area around the edge of my document. I hit the check mark, and I'm happy with that at this point. So now I'm going to go up to File and save this. And you should probably save this as a Photoshop document since you have multiple layers. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then you'll have to save this as a JPEG as well. So if you're printing, in this case you're putting this in a Word document to turn it in, you go down to JPEG, vignette, color background is fine, and I'll hit save again. Hit OK, and you're done at this point.